What's going on YouTube? This is IppSec, and we've been doing the Nineveh machine from HackTheBox. I think the coolest thing in this video is going to be the Linux process monitoring script I write as part of the privask. It should be something that there's a tool for or really easy to do, but I just don't know how. I always fall back to this bash script. So that'll be in the privask session. If you want to watch the whole video, there's going to be plenty to learn. It has a lot of Hydra usage against login panels. It's kind of lackluster for a CTF to do brute forcing, but it's important to know because the amount of times you'll come across a website with weak credentials on an internal network is astounding. And if you just keep trying every login manually on those, it's going to take you forever to do vulnerability assessment. So scripting it out, really good. A lot of Hydra usage, that'll be good. Once you get logins to the services, there's an exploit chain. One of the applications you create a file, the other application's a LFI, and you combine those together, you get code execution. I think it's possible to get root from here by doing that process monitoring I mentioned earlier, but not exactly sure. Haven't done it from start to finish, so that part will be live, and we'll see if we get root without doing the next part, which I find annoying. There's a image file with some steganography. In that steg is a SSH key, and there's also port knocking on this server. So it's not listening on port 22 by default. Once you do a TCP port knock, then you can access port 22. So I don't exactly like that part, but we'll go over it at the very end of the video. How I did the box when it got first released is that port knocking wasn't applied to IPv6, so I GoBusted that SSH key and logged right into IPv6. It was a lot like the sneaky box, but that's been patched. IPv6 is disabled, so yeah, let's jump in. First thing first, we have to do a port scan in the box to find out what services are listening, and we're going to be using NMAP for that. So nmap-sc, save script, sv, enumerate versions, -oa, output all formats. Put the scans in the directory nmap, and we'll call them Nineveh, and then the IP address of Nineveh, which is 10.10.10.43. Already ran it because it takes some time, so let's just look at the results. Nineveh.nmap, and we see that port 80 and 443 is open. It's running Apache 2418 Ubuntu. It's got a SSL cert that exposes a hostname nineveh.htb. So I'm going to add that into my host file, just in case it's used. So v-etc host, and I've already put this in, so 10.10.10.43 nineveh.htb there. That may come in handy later on, it may not, just good to always navigate by host names instead of IPs. First thing, I'm going to go to the address 10.10.10.43, and we get the Apache It Works page. I'm going to go to nineveh.htb, and we still get it. So there's no hostname-based routing, it's just that. My next step would be going to the SSL page, so see if we get any more host names or things out of that SSL certificate. So HTTPS 10.10.10.43, and a different page. So we'd even do enumeration on the SSL cert. It's just we know there's a different page being shown to SSL than there is HTTP. That's good to know. So let's look at that SSL cert anyways to see if there is any other host names. Going down the list, we do get a email address which could also expose a username, nineveh.htb, which we already knew. Got the username again, SSL cert. Is there anything else there? Nope. So that's about all the information we have. We know there's 80 and 443 that has different pages on the web server, and potential user of admin. Not much information. So let's run GoBuster against both of them to see if there's any other hidden directories. Let's create the directory GoBuster so we can stay organized, and then run GoBuster. So opt GoBuster, GoBuster-H, and look at the arguments. We're going to want to use the -w for word list. I'm going to do user share word list GoBuster and directory list lowercase 23 medium.text. Then the next thing we want to specify is -u for the URL, and that's going to be HTTP 10.10.10.43. And then -o, we want to store this into a file. We'll store it in GoBuster HTTP and dlist lower small dot text. That should be fine. We're going to copy this because we want to do it to HTTPS. Create a new pane. Run the same thing again, except changing it to be HTTPS in the two locations. And I forgot, we probably want to do -t for threads. And, oh, it's default at 10 threads. That's fine. Unable to connect. Did we take that down? Oh, invalid certificate. Let's see. Opt GoBuster. Where is the certificate flag? Pen / no. Show IP. Should be a option to ignore SSL cert. Come on, where is it? -K. I should have tried that first. That is curl's default. There we go. So now we ignore certificate on that one. We got 2 GoBusters running. We have a request back on the HTTP side as /department. So let's see what that is. It is a login panel with username and password. And on the HTTPS side, we had one on /db. And we get phpLiteAdmin, and that's an odd warning. Okay, refresh, it's gone. So we got 2 different login panels, so let's do Hydra against them both. So let's go back there, split the pane, and we want to do Hydra. We'll think the user's admin first. That's the one we saw in that SSL certificate. Then -p for passwords is capital P, because we want to do a file instead of just one password. And I'm going to pass it into user share word list sec list, and 10k most common I want to do, which is that passwords 10k most common. The reason I want to do this instead of rocku, just because rocku's huge and it'll take forever to do. This shouldn't take too long. And then after the password list, we got to specify the IP, which is 10.10.10.43. Then we want to specify the module of Hydra to use, which is HTTP post form. Then we got to specify the URL, so /department/login.php. And this is where it gets a little bit tricky. Let's turn burp on. And go to burp. Proxies intercept. Do a login check. Admin test. Login. We see it passes the username and password in the post. So copy this. Go back to Hydra. And replace this with pass, and replace username with _user_. And putting the pass, all this does is tell Hydra, insert the line item out of here into that variable, or that section of the URL. And then the very last thing we have to do is specify what the page says on a invalid login. So let's just forward this request. Go to the page, and we get invalid password. So I'm just going to put invalid. Invalid. And then we can specify the number of threads. We'll do 64. Okay, that Hydra has started. We probably should have done some type of output file, but we'll do that the next time. Same thing for this SSL. So let's go to phpLiteAdmin. Just do test. Intercept is on. Log in. It wants me to accept the certificate. Okay. Sure. Copy all of this. And what I'm going to do is just change that password to be pass here. Copy, go back, paste, and we want to go back to this window. Copy this, paste it here. We can leave -l admin. I think Hydra is going to force us to do a user, but if we don't put that user caret, nothing bad happens. So leave that there. We also want to leave that same password list. We're going to change HTTP to HTTPS, and then the URL is different. This is db/login.php, I believe. db/index.php. And then this cookie, or not this, but that whole segment is different. We have password pass, login true, paste that. And then what's this say on an invalid login? For the request, look at it, incorrect. So we will put incorrect there instead of invalid. 64 thread should be fine, and start running that. So now I got Hydra's running, GoBuster's running, and already got a password. So let's try logging in with admin 1Q2W34. Turn intercept off. Admin, put that password in, and we log into this web page. Going to, I guess, if we click log out, it logs us out. Home, we're there. Click on notes, and we see, have you fixed login page yet? Hard-coded username and password. Okay. Check secret folder to get in, and improve the database interfaces. Username right here, possibly, Royce. We're going to go to the directory, that tilde Amroy's. Apache may be configured to give users their home directory and make their home directory accessible over HTTP. And if it is, that's how you would normally access it. It's not in this case, so can't verify that or find a home directory. One odd thing to note is this looks like a file path, so let's try a LFI attack. So .. a bunch of times, and a file we know exists on the server, which is probably etc passwd. Try that and get no note was selected. So let's send this to burp to make it a bit easier to deal with. Send that over to repeater. Go, render. Okay, so let's try just getting rid of a few characters and see what happens. And we get something interesting. It's a error message. Can we zoom in on this? Not easily. So let's do that over on the web server. Intercept off. So we get a PHP error message, failed to open stream, and we get this file name, which doesn't exist, so that's why it failed to open stream. We also see it's using the PHP function include. This is important to note because we know if we can get any PHP code there, it doesn't matter what extension is, it's going to execute that file with PHP. If it was like file get contents, then it wouldn't automatically execute with PHP, but if you put a .php file there, you could view the source of a PHP script. Since it's include, it's going to execute everything in between PHP tags, so we can't view the source of PHP files. However, there is a trick. It is doing a PHP wrapper, I believe. So we can do PHP : filter / I think convert.base64 encode / resource equals files Nineveh.txt. And what this is going to do is it's going to put this string into the include statement, and it's going to convert the contents of Nineveh.notes.txt into base 64. And when it does that, it no longer executes what's in between PHP tags, allowing us to view the source of PHP files. And we get file name too long. So, cool idea, does not work. So we have to figure out what files we can view on the server. So if we do Nineveh.notes.txt, we get it. We got one thing that said no note exists, and it's odd to see that. And then when we do Nineveh.notes.t, it gives an error message. That's a different thing. So let's change Nineveh.notes.txt to just be Nineveh.txt. We'll get rid of notes. If we do that, we get no note is selected. So if we put note back in, we get no note selected. Is it notes? Yeah, it's notes. So there's something searching for the string Nineveh notes, and if that doesn't exist, then it says note doesn't exist. So just something you get when you play around with it. And unless there's like a Nineveh.notes.php or something there, then this isn't directly exploitable because we need Nineveh notes in the name. So we go back over into our enumeration and just wait for another login to that DB page, hopefully. So our Hydra command actually didn't come back with any results, which is odd. It's a really simple password that's just not in that word list. So we're going to do it again, but with a different word list. And before I do that, let us just grep out what the password is out of RockU. So we'll grep -i. -i is case insensitive. I'm going to put the caret password. That's going to grab every line that starts with the word password out of user share word list RockU. I'm going to output that file, I guess, pw. I'm going to rerun Hydra with pw and see what that password was. And once you see the password, you're going to laugh because I assumed that password would be in this word list I used of the top 10,000 most common. So before creating this video, I knew the more difficult password I thought was that keyboard walk, which was 1Q2W3E. Look on the keyboard and you'll find it. So I grepped a word list that I thought would be reasonable to use with that password and came back with that 10K password. Didn't even bother to check password 123 because I assumed that would be on any list that has a keyboard walk. Was not. So, my mistake there. Let us log into the next service with the password of password123. Super silly that that wasn't in the word list, but oh well. Logging into phpLiteAdmin, and we get access to the database. And phpLiteAdmin is a PHP tool to interact with SQLite databases. It's very similar to phpMyAdmin with MySQL databases. SQLite is kind of a plain text database system. So we can just input PHP code in a table, and then if we rename the database to .php, we can execute it. So there is a exploit DB article, I believe, that kind of explains it. I haven't actually looked for it. I knew about this a long time ago, and when I was doing the box, just never looked. So search exploit for phpLiteAdmin, and we see remote PHP code injection. So let's take a look at that one. Search exploit -x. Create a database. Says rename to PHP and execute code. So that is the way, if you didn't know about this, how you would find it. So let's do that. So we can just create a new database. Let's create this with a name of Nineveh notes, and we'll give it one field. And in this, we're going to put some PHP code. So we're going to cat op shells php cmd.php and just grab this. Paste that in. Create. Actually, go back. Created. Done. Let's drop this. I don't know if that's going to work because I didn't do one thing. Let's go back and type Nineveh notes. Number of fields, 1 sounds fine. And this is just going to be type as text. I don't know if it would create it differently with integer, so create this. Table has been created. Awesome. And then we rename the database, and we can name it anything we want. So Nineveh notes.php. Rename this. Database has been renamed. So now let's go back to that local file inclusion that we had. Files. And try var_temp ninevehnotes.php and add ip equals ls. And it wants us to log in again. So username was admin, password, I think it went keyboard walk up to 5. There we go. Notes. Paste that in. Ip equals ls. We get a syntax error. Unexpected string ip. And it's expecting something. So something odd happened there. What I'm going to do is change the odd characters in my syntax. And I'm just trying to find out how to edit this. I hate this tool. If we go here, browse, how do I just rename a field? Structure, Nineveh notes, edit, there we go. And I'm going to change those single quotes to be double quotes, because that would work as well. And then we're going to save the changes. Has been altered successfully. Run this again, and now we get code execution. Awesome. So there was just a weird thing where it didn't save single quotes, and the most likely reason is, after running this, we see it uses single quotes for various things. So it's probably doing a escape in that table space on single quote, and when it did the escape, it turned my syntax into... Why'd you do that? Let's go back, edit. Was it structure? Edit. There we go. So instead of being this, which is valid syntax, it put escape characters before the single quotes and made it an invalid command. So that's most likely what happened there. But now that we have code execution, let us send this into burp because it's just easier to work with. We'll change the request method into a post. Make sure this still works. Send it out. Doesn't look like it works that way. So if we can do a weird hybrid of putting data in a post in the get portion and down below. Never tried this, so let's see what happens. Ninevehnotes.php. Go. Yeah, it works. So the PHP script that gets this variable is getting it via $get. So putting it down here in the post area, that's $post, like that. In my script, I do request, so it doesn't matter if it's in the top or bottom. But turns out, if it's a post request and it's doing a get, you can just throw it in where get is, and it passes it like that. Let's double check the sanity before that's confirmed. Paste. Yep. So I think that's confirmed behavior. Today I learned. But anyways. There we go. Code execution. Next thing is we have to get a shell. So let's go to pentest monkey. First turn burp intercept off. Pentest monkey reverse shell. And I'm going to use the one I use all that time with Jizz, the one with NC. Actually, before we do that, we can just try easy mode. NC-E, I think. Bin bash 10, 10, 14, what's my IP? 30, and we'll do 80, 80. URL encode this. Actually, not 80, 80. We'll do 80, 90. CLVNP, 80, 90. Go. No. Get rid of that. -e bin bash. So we do get a connect. It just doesn't have that -e functionality. I think it's -e. Almost never see that. Or see that work. And my Firefox is hung. Oh, there we go. Still trying to pull back this one page. Come on. That is going awfully slow. Let's just go to the Google Cache version. Nope, returned. Okay. And that is a little trick if you didn't know it. If you just do cache : and a page, it'll pull the Google Cache version of that page. So if a website's down, that could be an easy, quick way to return the results. So copy this command, go into burp, paste. It's 10, 10, 14, 30, port 80, 90. URL encode that. We are listening. Go. Got a shell. So first things first, always do python-c import pty, pty.spawn, bin bash. Python not found, so let's do python3-c import pty, pty.spawn, bin bash. Crap. There we go. Background that, sty-a, that should get rows and cols, okay. sty raw minus echo, foreground, sty rows 49, ty cols 185. Now we have a tab auto-completable shell that is really nice, and we're going to do a get against, let's do enumeration. So go into opt, I think it's Linux privask, and I'm going to run that LinEnum.sh script. So python-m, simple HTTP server 80, go over here, curl 10, 10, 14, 30, linenum.sh, gets the script, awesome. We can pipe that over to bash, and it executes. And once that's done running, we'll go to the very top and examine anything we see. I guess we can go to the top now while it's running and look at it. Enum, there we go. So we see kernel was updated in 2017, so it's been updated this year. GCC Ubuntu 16.044, that is Xennial, I believe. Yeah, Xennial. Going down, we're running as the www user. There is a login from Royce. Down, we can go into the Amroy's directory on the home so we can see what's in there. Looking at crons, I don't see anything too out of place. Everything looks like it's standard. IP address is no IPv6. Let us go back there. Whoops. There we go. Was it ETH0? There we go. Nope, that goes all the way up. Just trying to get to where I left off, which was an IP address. There we go. Networking info, left off. UP history, it's not talking to anything. Listening TCP. That is odd. Seeing SSH listen on localhost. So SSH is listening. It didn't show up in our NMAP scan, so that's something to investigate. We'll go into that at the very end of the video. That's where the port knocking comes in. There's looking at all the processes, binaries. I don't think there's anything else of interest. One thing to note that I forgot to show is when we were in that PHPLite database, the reason why we didn't just try writing to a web directory was because I knew ahead of time nothing is writable by www data. So we had to write into var_temp or /temp or something like that. So that was that reason. If there was a space like /uploads that you could write in, then you could just place the database there, then navigate to it. You don't need that LFI. So hopefully that makes sense. Sorry I jumped over that. There's only so much you can explain when you're doing it kind of live like this. So if we do a ls on /, we see a odd directory /report that I'm not used to seeing. So let's go into that directory, and we see a file being created every minute. So it's hard to see what creates that file. We know it's probably a cron job. So let's write a script to do that. And the very first thing I want to do is show two commands. We have ps-eo command, and that's going to list all the things that are running on the web server, or on the server. It doesn't have to be web. And then there's something called ifs variable that is, I think, internal field separator. So if we just did a loop on this, it's going to, the field separator by default is space. So that loop is going to use space as the separator. If we set ifs to that and say, hey, don't separate based upon space, separate based upon new line, and then run the same command, it's now looping by line. So that's key to know. So go into var_temp, and we're going to create a script. So procmon.sh. Do the shebang at the top so we can make it executable easily. We have to set ifs to \n, and the reason for that is loop by line. So we'll put a comment there, loop by line. Then, whoops. If I could type, man. Next thing I want to do is old process is equal to ps-eo command. That's what I just showed you the output of. And then we want to create a infinite loop. So while true, do. And we'll do new process is equal to the same thing. That should work. Then after that, we want to diff two variables. And this is how we do that. I don't know why I didn't put this in double quotes. I don't think I need the double quotes there, but just because I did on that second one. Stay consistent. And I'm going to grep this for 2 lines. If it contains either of those two characters that I just typed, show me the results. And the reason is diff just shows some weird hex characters after a match. So, and then sleep 1, and we want old process is equal to new process, and done. So what this is going to do is it's going to grab a list of every process that's running, and then grab a list of every new process that's running, diff the two results, and that's going to show us when things enter or leave this new process list. And sleep a second, and repeat. So let's try that out. chmod plus x procmon.sh, execute it, and we wait. We know that a cron runs every minute, so it should give us a result, and we should see processes starting and ending. If we want, we probably could just go to the web page, and it should come up. I don't know why that's not loading. What if this just froze the server? Shouldn't have. But Apache... Okay, Apache's running. Just didn't like that command I was doing. Huh. Odd. Documentation goes there. Let's go to a page. Yeah. Maybe Apache froze and that was a cache thing. Refresh. No. PHP just looks like it's hung. That's odd. Maybe I screwed something up. Let's look at the script as it's going. Echo old, echo new. No, that should be fine. Huh. Bin bash, loop by line, old process, pseo command, diff. Let's just get rid of that grep. We'll see the junk. Oh, I'm an idiot. Old process. New process. That's what I forgot. I'm an idiot. Now this should work. And there we go. Perfect timing. So that's the junk I was filtering out with my grep, is that comes in diff. But we can see that cron started, cron executed /root vulnscan.sh. That with bin sh, it was alias to bash, so then bash executes. And then it executes use a bin check rootkit. And then that does a find. So if we look at use a bin check rootkit, can't open ls-la. Okay, we can only execute it. Maybe not. Let's just do a search exploit for chk rootkit. And I think I forgot to show you the contents of one of those report files. So we'll show that real quick. It just runs check rootkit and it checks for exploits on the server. Funnily enough, it suspects my PHP file is something of malicious intent, which it is, so kudos to it. But if we search exploit for chk rootkit, and we have to do that on our Linux host, we do get privilege escalations. And this is quite a bit to read, but just know it executes /temp/update, because that's where it puts an update file. So if we just put, create that file, /temp, what can we put in update? The update, do bin bash, and I guess we'll give ourselves a shell. Reverse shell cheat sheet. 10, 10, 14, 30. We'll leave it at port 1234. Temp F would do temp 2 instead. We don't want to delete temp F because our first shell exists on that. So change all references to temp2, search for F, and just go make sure it doesn't exist anymore. There we go. Then chmod plus X, update, create a new nclvnp 1234. Date, we gotta wait 45 seconds. So I'll actually send that to pane 3, I think. No. Send to pane 2. And in temp, we'll check the date again. So in about 20 seconds, it should go. So vertemp./procmon. Start listening for processes again. And probably in 15 seconds, we should see that cron start up. And if we did it correctly, it should execute update and send us a shell. So we'll see if that happens. And should be happening now, I think. There we go. And got a shell. And we also see, funnily enough, additional processes started. So we see that bin bash temp update. That's it executing the update file. Then this portion is my reverse shell. So if we do a who am I, we are now root. So that is how you can root the box without ever getting to that one user. I guess now we have to do the whole intended route with port knocking. So let's just actually go back to the enumeration pane, and we see that GoBuster finished and found another directory we haven't looked at, which is secure_notes. So let's check that out, and we get a image. So let's save this image, move the image into a current directory, and then I just bin walk the image to see if there's any hidden content, and we see there is a tar archive and zlib compressed data, so this is probably a gzip inside the image. So what we're going to do is bin walk -M_E on that image. The EM just means it's going to extract, rerun bin walk for everything it extracts. So we see it's extracted several things. Do a ls, extracted to _Nineveh. Look in this directory, there's a tar archive, it extracted that. Folder's called secret, and we see a pub and priv file. So if we cat the pub, we see it's the public SSH key for the amroys user. If we cat the priv, it is the SSH key for the privileged user. So let's try to SSH with it. chmod 600 because SSH needs that. -I, nineveh.priv, the IP address, 10.10.10.43, user was amroys, and nothing. Checking this, we're still connected, and that is because, again, remember, NMAP didn't return anything. Oddly enough, when we're doing the local enumeration, it did. So what we have here is port knocking, and we're going to go back into burp. We'll do this pretending we don't have a shell. Where's our code execution? Here it is. So if we do ls here, oh, that's right, PHP's hung. I think it's actually our script that we ran that hung PHP. So I guess we have to go back into our script. We'll just do this from the www-data user. So we're pretending we're doing command injection. So if we, again, netstat alnp grep for listening, we see port 22 is listening, and that was funny. If you heard that, that was Siri going off. My phone thought I said something, but my apologies for that. SSH says it's open, but our box says it's not. If we look into the IP tables, so that's etc IP tables, we can do rules.v4, and we see that it's accepting on port 80 and 443, then dropping. We can't just look at the active rules because we don't have permission to, but we can look at this file. So we know there's an IP tables rule blocking 80 and 443. And because it's a CTF, we have to make use of that public key somehow. And the answer is there is a port knocking service. So I think if we go to etc init.d, do a ls, and look at the services here, we see knockd. So if we less the knockd service, we can find its config file, I think is etc default knockd. So let's take a look there. See, starting knockd, and its config file is etc knockd.conf. And here we go. We have IP tables. Let's see. If we do the ports 571, 290, then 911, it's going to allow us access via port 22. So let's save that. Go into bash for I and that. Do echo I. Done. IFS equals I want to loop by space again. And I thought that would do it. Is that not how? Do I not put these in quotes? Is that how? Yeah, okay. So at the port knock, we just have to send a TCP packet to those 3 ports. So easiest way to do that is dev TCP IP address port. So I can show you real quick. Let's do python-m. Actually, we'll just netcat lvnp on 4/8. And if we do echo nothing to dev TCP 127.0.0.1 4/8, actually we'll echo test. We see it sends the string test to that socket. So that's the easiest way I know to do port knocking. So let's just echo nothing to dev TCP 10.10.10.43, and then I. Did I screw something up? It's likely I did. Oh, because it wants the socket's opening and not closing, maybe? Huh. Echo nothing. Dev TCP 10.10.10.43 571. Yeah. 290 911. That's just because I guess the server's not closing the socket or something. That's odd. But now let's do NMAP-P 22 10.10.10.43 filtered. Maybe it doesn't work that way. Let's try backup strategy. Instead of doing it that way, we'll do nmap-P n I -P I -st for TCP, and the IP address is 10.10.10.43. Try this. 571 filtered, 290 filtered, 911 filtered, and 22 is still filtered. PortKnock and map. I screwed something up. It's probably the max retries. So copy those two flags. Paste. Try this again. There we go. Now it's open. So the issue probably was that max retries flag, because NMAP probably tried port 571 multiple times. So it was like 571, 571, 290, 290, 911, 911, and that caused it to error. It needed to be in that exact order. So now that SSH is open, we can do sh-i nineveh.priv and amroyce at 10.10.10.43, and we log in. So again, when this box first was launched, IPv6 was wide open. That PortKnock service was only on IPv4, and you could just do it right away, but IPv6 got disabled. So the privesc from here, same way we did with www data. The only thing different is the LinEnum script would have pointed you to user sbin report.sh, and you could see that script, and all it did was clear that /report directory. So all we had to do with www data is figure out /report existed, which was an easy directory to spot. So hope you guys enjoyed the video. Take care, and I don't know if there's going to be retired machines for the next 2 weeks because of the holidays, but I may do vulnhub or just have to start working on Calamity because that is going to be a tough video. But happy holidays, everyone. Take care.